Okay, now the next thing, I want you to make these big fractions, okay? And I want you to go on your phone or computer, and here's what you need to do, okay? Here, you get a black screen because it's on my desk, okay? I type in the following into a Google search. Math Papa, best one I could find. Math Papa, and then algebra calculator. Okay. And it should be the first thing. Math Papa, algebra calculator. Okay. Right there. Okay. That's going to help us because I'm going to punch some things into that on a certain step. Okay. Okay. So here's what we do. You need to parenthesize this and this. Not this because there's no adding and subtracting going on. So I just drop that down. And the same with the 12. Drop it down. Okay. So we need to factor the x to the second minus 8x plus 16. Okay. 3 terms. So GCF doesn't appear I have one. And then t-chart. Okay. So positive 16. Sum of 8, because 1 times 16, ABC. It's 4 times 4. A equals 1 here. Minus and minus. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, could I write x minus 4 to the second? Don't do it that way. Just write x minus 4 times x minus 4. Okay, and look at x minus 4. There's no GCF and it's not a DOPS. It'd have to be to the second power for it to be a DOPS. Okay, so that's going to stay like it is. Okay, so let's go x minus 4. That's really the only factor I have on the bottom. I just keep having it. So that has 2 and that has 1. So I need to make sure they both have 2. Okay, now combine. So circle one of your denominators. They're both the same, and you just put what's in there. Now, here's a nice part, okay? And then what I write is negative 15x plus, circle that plus sign, 12 times, and then x minus 4. Now, here's what you can do to simplify your top. It's really easy. You just plug that in, and it's going to simplify it for you. So negative buttons right here. 15x, okay. Plus, you hit shift, and then it's right there. 12. You don't need to hit times. You can just put your parentheses there. And then x minus 4. And when I hit calculate, it's going to simplify my top for me. Okay, so there it is, negative 3x minus 48. Now we need to see if that expression factors. So GCF and DOPS. GCF, you do have a negative, so you are going to have to do a GCF. And you can divide these by 3, but not x. So negative 3 factors out of there. And then when I divide by negative 3, what do I get? I get 1x plus 16. Not a DOPS, so cross that out. So I write that expression, negative, the factored expression, 1x plus 16. And then I put what was in my denominator, so x minus 4 times x plus 4. Now, are any of your parentheses the same? They are not. Okay, if they are, you can cancel. All right, it goes a lot quicker with this little tool here. Okay, so let's clear this bad boy. Okay, so I've got x plus 4, x squared minus 4. 15 needs to be just dropped, okay? And then x minus 2. Okay, there's no GCF to x plus 4, and it's not a DOPS, so that will stay. Now look at that. There's no GCF, but I'm pretty sure it's a DOPS, so I make 2 parentheses. It's going to be x times x and 2 times 2. And that right there is no GCF, and it's not adopts, okay? So sometimes if you see two terms, it's pretty kind of easy to know. LCD, I've got x plus 2. Remember, it's all about the bottom. I don't care what's on top, okay? Could be a zillion for all I care. X minus 2. Then another x minus 2. So x plus 2, we got 1 and 0. So I got to make sure this gets its x plus 2. And x minus 2, I'm at 1 and 1. So that's a good deal. Now that we have the same bottoms, we can combine them. So my common denominator is x plus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, now we've got x plus 4 minus 15 times x plus 2. Okay, and I will be simplifying the top on my little math papa calculator. So I've got parentheses x plus 4, close that, and then minus 15 parentheses x plus 2. Okay, calculate it. Negative 14x minus 26. Okay, so I need to write that down. And then I want to see if that factors. There are two terms. You can do something with it. Okay. Okay, GCF, I do have the negative, and we can divide them both by 2. Okay, but not x. Okay, there would have to be x on both of them to divide. So that's positive 7x plus 13, which is not adopts. So what I do is I jot that down. Make your dividing line, and then put what was in the denominator, which was x plus 2 times x minus 2. Because this turned into this, which turned into this, and we're good. None of the parentheses cancel. Okay, next up. Don't parenthesize that, drop it. You want to parenthesize that. Don't parenthesize that. There's no adding or subtracting. Just drop it. Parenthesize that. Okay, I'm pretty sure I can't do anything with x minus 3. No GCF, no DOPS. Likewise with x plus 1. Okay, LCD, I've got x minus 3 and x plus 1. So x minus 3, I got 1, 0. So we got to make sure they both have 1. So that needs its x minus 3. And so does the top then. When I multiply by something, I can keep it balanced by if x plus 1 is 0 and 1. So this needs its x plus 1. Okay, combine into 1, circle that, and x minus 3 times x plus 1. You might as well just go put that down here, because that is your denominator. Okay, now on top, I have 9 times x plus 1 plus, circle the plus, 2x times x minus 3. Okay, let's see what Math Papa tells me here. 9, parentheses x plus 1, close it, plus, shift plus, and then 2x, parentheses, x minus 3. So if we multiply that, and then collect like terms, it's 2x squared plus 3x plus 9. Okay, factor the top. Okay, this time there's 3, so I'd look for greatest common factor and then my t-table. There is no GCF, okay? 2 times 9 is 18 plus sum of 3. That's impossible. So some of you are thinking, well, do you do the song? No, you're not trying to solve an equation here. You're just trying to simplify. Do you see an equals? Is your job to find what x equals? No, it's not. It's to take the expression and simplify it. So what you do is you just take this and drop it down. And put it in parentheses. Obviously, none of the parentheses cancel. That's what we have. Again, the quadratic formula song is used when your job is to solve the equation for x. These aren't even equations, much less solving for x. Okay, next one. 3 drops and 1 drops. You can parenthesize those, but there are only 2 terms each. There's no GCF, there's no DOPS. Okay, so your LCD, you got x plus 4 and x plus 6. So x plus 4, I got 1 and 0. So this needs an x plus 4. X plus 6, I've got 0 and 1, so that needs an x plus 6, and that needs an x plus 6. So circle your denominator, x plus 4 times x plus 6. Now you want to go down here, you know that that's going to be in your denominator, okay? If it's your common denominator, it doesn't change. Okay, so then I go 3 times, and then x plus 6 minus 1 times, and then x plus 4. Okay, so you got 3 and x plus, some of you are like, I wish my calculator would do this. They'll make some, at the rate they're going, they will make some that do this. It's only a matter of time. Probably already have some, they just don't sell them at Walmart yet. Okay, 2x plus 14. So I write that down. Now I need to attempt to factor that. Now obviously it has a GCF of 2. Is it a difference of perfect squares? That's x plus 7. Nope, that's not a difference of perfect squares. So 2 times x plus 7. Now, if I would have an x plus 7 down here, I would cancel it to simplify it further, but I don't have anything that crosses out. Okay, next up. Drop your 12. Drop your 3, and then these need to be parenthesized. We need to check them for factoring. Okay, so x to the second plus 5x minus 24. You want to do your factoring on scratch paper at the beginning of the problem. Okay, GCF, no. T-chart. So negative 24, difference of 5, and that gives me, it's 3 and 8. And a equals 1, so again, 2 parentheses. So I've got plus, so plus 8 and minus 3. Okay, so this now turns into x minus 3 times x plus 8. Okay, then I have 3. That is not going to be able to do anything with that one. So LCD, we got x minus 3, and we got x plus 8. X minus 3, we've got 1 and 1, so we're good. X plus 8, I've got 1 and 0, so the where there's 0, I need to put another x plus 8. Okay, so combine into 1. Just take one of the bottoms and write it. You don't write everything from both bottoms, okay? And then combine into 1. Well, you see, so I've got 12 plus 3 times x plus 8. I'm guessing this is going to be 3x plus 36, just a hunch, because that's going to be 3x. That's 24 plus 12 is 36, but let's just check and see. So 12 plus 3, then x plus 8, okay? Calculate it, 3x plus 36. Now, there'd be a lot of teachers at other schools that would be appalled that we're using this tool. Yeah, I don't really care. If we have technology, we are going to use it, okay? Factor that then. GCF, DOPS, and you have a GCF of 3 here, okay? So you not by x, so I divide by 3, and x plus 12. Not a DOPS, so I put this denominator down here, so x minus 3 times x plus 8, and then I just write 3 times x plus 12. Okay, next, a little interesting here. Parenthesize that, and we need to just drop that one down. And that one gets dropped down. And I don't think we can factor x minus 4, okay? And it's not a dot, so I just put that down. Can't factor just a 5, and I can't factor x minus 4, okay? Now, the LCD is kind of tricky here, okay? The only parentheses you have on the bottom is x minus 4. Now, you got some stuff that's not in a parentheses. For big numbers, you have 5. And then I have just 5 again. Now, for x's that are not part of a parentheses, you have this. So you got to also account for outside x. First problem I've had to look for those. So x minus 4, I don't have any here. I have one here, but I don't care. It's got to be on bottom. So I have 0 on bottom, and I have 1 on bottom. So I need to bring another x minus 4 into that problem. Okay, what do we have for 5s? Outside 5s, I have a 1 and I have 1, so that's good. We're good there. X is outside of a parentheses. I have 1, and I don't have any outside here. That's part of the inside expression, so 0. Okay, so we need to make sure they both have 1. So I like to just put the x here, and then just x here. Okay. Now we can combine them into 1. 5x times x minus 4. Okay, so we've got x minus 4 times x minus 4 minus, and then just 12x. Okay. Circle that, go for it. Okay, so let's see what we get. X minus 4 times x minus 4, whoops, parentheses in, minus 12x. Okay, let's see what we get here. X squared minus 20x plus 16. So it's a trinomial, so I need to see if the t-chart can break it down. No GCF going on, so ABC, 1 times 16 is positive 16, sum of 20. That is impossible because right away I get 17, and that's too small. It only gets smaller as you go on. Okay, so that's a fail. And no, I'm not using the quadratic formula. This will be just what I put on top. So 1x squared minus 20x plus 16. And then I just write what my common denominator was. So 5x times x minus 4. Look at your parentheses. They're not the same. You cannot do anything. Okay. Next. None of this stuff has plus or minus. So the 8 drops, the 3x squared drops, the 5 drops, and the 4x. Okay, I got no business trying to factor there. Okay, LCD, I have no parentheses factors, so what are the big numbers you have out? That you have a 3 and you have a 4. And you also have outside x's. Outside meaning they're not in a parentheses. So 3, I've got 1 and 0, so I better times by 3 here. For 4, I have 0 and 1, so I better times by 4 here. Outside x's, I have x to the second, so that means 2, and I have 1 here. So I got to times by another x on that one. Okay. 1 fraction. Okay. Now, you see how you don't have any parentheses here? If you don't have any parentheses, multiply it straight across. That's going to be 12 with x squared. And the same thing here. That's 12. That's x squared. Okay? So you need to clean up that a little bit if you don't have any parentheses. Okay? Simplify it. Okay, now, personally, I don't really think you need to really be using your little calculator on this. I mean, you're going to have 32 and then 15x. Okay. Now, simplify your top. Write it so the x term comes first. So negative 15x plus 32. Okay? I mean, you can punch that in, whatever. It's going to be the same thing. So GCF and dots. GCF, I have a negative in the front, so I at least got to pull out a negative 1, and that's the only thing I can really do because they don't divide by anything. So that's going to be positive 15x minus 32, not a dots. So I've got negative 1 times 15x minus 32, and then we just put the 12x squared on bottom. Okay, this is your only parentheses factor. Now on top you got negative 1, on bottom you got 12x squared. You can't do anything with that, so that's the answer. Like if I would add a negative 6, I could have divided the 6 and 12 by 6. Okay, then our last one. No factoring necessary. Drop your 12, drop your 5x, drop your 7, drop your 6x. So LCD, there's no parentheses. You have 5 and 6, and you also have outside x. So 5, I have 1 and 0, so I need to times this by 5. 6, I have 0 and 1, so where I have 0, I need to times by 1 6, so they both have 6. Outside x's, I have 1 and 1, so we're good there. So when you combine those without parentheses, I would like you to multiply that, 30x. Okay, and then this is similar. You got 12 times 6 plus 7 times 5. Now come on here. That's 72, that's 35. 72 plus 35 is 107, okay? So, and there's no way you can factor just a number, okay? So I put NA. So I have my 30x in the denominator and 107. Now I don't believe you can do, nope, you can't divide 107 and 30 down. Okay.